Watch me explain the insanity of surgery for pain outside of trauma. So, let's talk about your knee. So, you have scheduled for a knee replacement, right?
Yeah, June 1st.
June 1st. So, tell me about your knee first. Did you have an injury to your knee?
No, just arthritis.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, this is what I want people to know about knees and why there is never, ever, ever a reason, unless you've had trauma or an accident, to have a knee replacement. So what they tell people when they have arthritis, they never tell people that arthritis is water. It is stagnant water. So they'll tell people, oh, you have arthritis, you have what's called bone on bone.
Yeah, that's what they told me.
Right. Bone on bone is never a reason to have surgery because millions of people have no cartilage in their knee, including me, and have no pain or swelling whatsoever. What actually is happening is there are large lymph nodes behind the knee.
Yeah, I can
which
feel it back here.
Exactly. Which, if they are inflamed, which we've already established that they are.
If you see me blinking my eye, my allergy is so bad.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Why are you blinking like that?
Because the allergies. So the lymph nodes that get inflamed behind here dump water in front of the knee joint. So the pain doesn't come from not having cartilage. The pain comes from the lymph nodes being inflamed. And I'm going to prove it to you based on what we're doing today. So when you walk now, your knee hurts to walk, right?
A little bit. On concrete it hurts bad.
Yes. And I could see that you walk with a limp in your knee.
That? Yeah.
I could see it.
See, here it is.
Yeah.
See how big it is?
Exactly.
Yes,
and it's big on top of the lymph node.
That's that lymph node right here.
Exactly. They're called the popliteal lymph nodes. So I tell people, unless you've had an accident, you never want to have surgery for knee problems because the problem is the lymph node, not the cartilage. And your daughter said you feel better when you go to the gym, right? Sometimes.
When I started working out, I took care of my mom for 2 years and she passed.
Right.
We buried her in January. And I couldn't do anything at 24-hour care. So when she passed, when I started working out,
right.
I said, oh, I can walk better because before I was walking like the Peddler man. I mean, I was barely walking.
So if in fact it is an issue with the cartilage, if that was true, then you would never feel better. But when you go to the gym, your lymphs are moving and that fluid moves out of your knee, which is proof that it's not an issue of cartilage. Okay. It's the lymph node, right? So what we're gonna do is empty that lymph node and show you how much better you feel after we're done, right?
Oh, okay.
Because what we want is to clear the lymph node.
That's why it's so, all this is so
Yes,
swollen.
ma'am, exactly.
Yeah.
And if you notice, it's swollen on top of the lymph node behind the knee, right? The swelling doesn't even come down below the joint because if the lymph node behind the knee is inflamed, all of the fluid that's supposed to flow through the lymphs stops at the lymph node. And if they go in and cut your knee, they're going to damage those lymph nodes because they can't separate lymph vessels from tissue because they're waterways. So what we're gonna do is use a little high frequency, a little energy, which stimulates that lymph node to open and pull all that fluid out of there so that you will feel better. Because the last thing you want is for them to operate on that. Because the problem is not the joint, nor is it the cartilage. Lots of people, athletes particularly, have no cartilage in their knee, but no swelling and no pain because they're always activating the lymph node with exercise and movement.
Yeah, that's when I started working out.
See?
The pain, because before, I'm gonna tell you, I couldn't walk.
See?
I couldn't, and I said I started working out and working out.
And moving that.
But it stayed big though.
Yeah, because we haven't reset the lymph nodes. So let's reset the lymph nodes. I'm gonna take some pictures for you of your leg, and then we'll do a little reset. Can you repeat that, Ms. Cox, when you said, what did they do that made you feel better?
They pulled the fluid out.
And as soon as they did, you felt better.
They pulled that fluid out, and once they got that fluid off my knee, then it went away, and then I didn't have any. That was years ago.
And see,
and then I start having issues at an older age.
Right. Pain is water. Okay. So we have to remember that the body is one unit, right? So when you have pain in the knee, the pain doesn't start in the knee. It's connected up at the top in what's called the inguinal lymphs in the groin, right? So if those lymph nodes up in the hip are inflamed, then there's not a lot of lymphatic water flow going down into the lymph node behind the knee. And then those trash cans behind the knee, instead of dumping into the lymph water that's not flowing well, dumps all of their toxin and excess fluid into the knee joint. That's where the swelling comes from. So when we use this little bit of electricity, it stimulates the lymphs to reset, opening them, and once the lymphs are open, then the water starts to flow automatically, and all of the swelling starts to go away very quickly. Very quickly. That's why when you feel yourself walking, sometimes you feel the stiffness up here in the hip joint, because that's where the pain actually starts. Yes. And you can see, if you look in the mirror, the body will always tell you the issue. You will see stretch marks right in the space that you say you hurt. But the stretch marks are caused by stagnant inflammation behind the skin, which is stretching the skin, creating stretch marks.
So why do they do these knee replacements?
Exactly. Why do they do them? Because that's the way they're trained. They don't know about the lymph system. So when they see a symptom, they've been trained to either medicate or operate. But if you knew about the lymph system, like holistic providers like me do, then you would know all we have to do is reset the system. You don't cut into the system, because all that does is makes it more vulnerable, which is why people have to have multiple knee replacements.
Yeah, my mom, she needed, when she was up too far up in age, and she needed another one. She had 2 knee replacements,
See? And the replacement, because they cut through the lymph system, causes that system to not be able to heal like it's meant to, and then the pain comes back, or then they tell you that you need another replacement. You don't, because the problem was never the cartilage in the first place. It was always the lymphs. Cartilage doesn't come from bone. So cartilage comes from collagen. Collagen is carried in the lymphs. So even if bone on bone was a reason to cut into the knee, it wouldn't make sense anyway, because bone doesn't create cartilage. So even changing the bone wouldn't make the knee pain go away. That's the point. When people have x-rays, particularly for the knee, the doctor will show you this big white space in the knee. But what I want to remind people is that white space is not transparent. It's solid white, which means that doesn't mean nothing's there. It means something is blocking the light of the x-ray. What shows up white on an x-ray? Water and mucus. So it's not that nothing is in there. It's that there's very much a lot in there, which is what the swelling is on the outside of the leg.
Yeah, they never showed me the x-ray.
So and that's very important for people. Never go and get an x-ray without them explaining to you what is on the x-ray. Don't let them show you a report. You want to see the actual x-ray. You want them to show you what they're looking at that they say necessitates a surgery. Most of the time, outside of trauma, it's always water and mucus, which is what's going to move once we're done with this treatment.
See?
Yep.
Look at this here.
I love it.
Then we'll walk.
I love it. No limp. No limp.
Before I was walking like
Love it.
this.
Love it.
Yeah. You have a lot of people come here?
Yeah.
Yeah.